Japan first came into existence 15 million years ago during the Miocene era. As the Philippine plate slowly pushed against the Eurasian plate, it caused the Sea of Japan seabed to fold back in itself and create a series of volcanoes, which created the Japanese islands. While these volcanoes are no longer active, new islands and volcanoes still pose risk to the Polynesians and other people. Several animals arrived during the Ice Age before becoming extinct.
First named and identified in 1877. Jomon or corded in Japan refers to a pre-contact culture existing in Japan for 15,000 years. These mostly hunter and gatherers ate bears and other animals, as well as acorns and yams. They maintain sophisticated pottery and stone work, some of the first of its kind. They also later on developed dojo figures. Modern Japanese have a range of anywhere from 0 to 10% DNA. While we do not have a record of Jomon words, we can develop a fleshed-out writing system and use Ainu words, such as
aka,
uncle,
anion,
outsider,
ape,
fire.
In Japanese creation myths, light rose from a shapeless mass and darkness could not rise higher, creating light. In the following sequence several gods were formed and one would form Japan.
In Buddhism, the world is made again and again.
During the Zhou dynasty in China, a group of farmers were told as a joke to come to the country. In addition, they were taught and forced to learn Chinese characters further, leading to resentment. They tried to continue their aggressive expansion into the United States. They also brought Buddhism, rice farming and
during the Yayoi period dated from 300 years before Christ or older. Immigrants began arriving from either the Zayadong Peninsula in China or Southeast Asia. These immigrants primarily came from North China, India, and Southeast Asia. This time is observed through pottery change, metal work, and agriculture spread. However, they were largely confined to the southern part of the country.
In 201, the first Shinto shrine was built and Buddhism introduced in 525, when Baekki in modern-day Korea sent gifts to the leader. During this time named the Kofun period lasting from about 298 to 538 giant burial mounds were created, which shows invasions, fortifications, and some strategic level. In the Amora period from about 710 Buddhism came, and about this time modern Japanese characters purportedly developed. Japan has the oldest continuing ruling family in any current nation. In 710, they moved the country to Heian or Kyoto. The Fujiwara clan gained increased power as the court became weakened by intrigue. Later in the period the samurai class began to develop against the emissure. This led to the deposition and replacement of the emperor and Kamakura epoch. This started medieval modern Japan. During this time a retired emperor vied for power before he was exiled. The samurai general took and allied with him, then traveled to the court and overthrew the emperor. The Mongols were caught in a storm and failed to invade. It also saw an increase in regional power. The new emperor Go-Taiko was dispelled shortly, creating a civil war, and the capital moved to Muromachi district and installed his own puppet leader. New classes of regional daimyo began to take control. During this time, they were able to entice the Portuguese. It witnessed introduction of firearms, naval bombardment, Christianity. It also witnessed the Warring States period. The Amachi Mamamoa period saw two leaders compete for control and Japanese political sovereignty. These used firearms.
During the early modern Tokugawa shogunate, trade with Europeans was tightly monitored and Tokugawa Ieyasu brought it under control, moving the capital east to his present castle of Edo. They tried to control. Later, the government conspired with people from the south to bait Americans. They gradually spread their influence culturally and through immigration throughout the world while taking control of the county. The young Emperor Meiji and his former associates, this time samurai or a bureaucratic class, brought in several Western innovations and hairstyles, all the while incorporating transportation and spreading Japanese culture and immigration. They also were encouraged and brought in several advisors as they consciously tried to transition to a modern age. While a common catchphrase was "expel the barbarians," in many ways it continues the completion of local daimyo and north-south access. Innovations and included spreading into the Hokkaido Sakhalin and other islands and challenging Russia, as well as increased aggression to China and Korea. Post-war or late World War II, Japan had committed and invaded nominally many countries while continuing to spy and maneuver her country influence. This included numerous bureaucracies reorganizing the League of Nations and baiting a US occupation to increase production and influence in US and abroad. The time also saw the rise of criminal gangs. Japan during shows became a technological innovator, cultural superpower, and continues to influence. Thank you for watching this controversial. I hope I can get at the truth, the whole truth. Thank you. God.
このビデオでは300億ドルのモノリスについて説明します。過去数十年の間に日本は文化大国へと進化しました。主に漫画とそれに付随するアニメやアニメ映画、テレビのおかげです。この芸術形式がなぜどのように始まったのか、それができた時、なぜこれほど強力になったのでしょうか。私がポケモンの音楽を選んだのは多くの人にとってそれが漫画やアニメへの入り口だったからです。音量を下げてください。業界は現在アニメだけで300億ドルを稼いでいます。その歴史については議論の余地があるが、学者らは最初のタイプの漫画は11から1200年代の武教巻物から始まったと考えている。漫画についての最初の言及は1798年に登場しました。このメディアは1800年代後半に西洋の漫画やアニメーションと連携して発展し、19世紀後半にはヨーロッパの政治コラムニストが新聞を試み始めました。その中にはイギリス人とフランス人の男性も含まれています。どちらも折りたたまれましたが、最初のもののいくつかを模倣した政治漫画につながりました。最初のアニメは19、その後3年に17年に制作されたと言われています。私たちが確実に年代を特定できるのは以下に示す1917年です。それらの前兆をまとめたのが現代の漫画ですが、なぜこれほどまでに大きなものになったのでしょうか。私たちは3つのスレッドを指摘したいと思います。1つ目はアニメの方向性を変えるブレーキ。アニメの方向性を変えるブレーキた職業です。2人目は戦争の影響を受けて育ったクリエイティブな人々で、ご覧の通りディズニーに影響を受け、バンビを42回見た週です。続いてはタンクマンというキャラクターでロボットというジャンルを築いた佐久本雅丈さん。宮崎も含めました。なぜなら彼は戦争に生き、戦争の影響を受けていたからです。とそれに伴う制限はいくつかの永続的なテーマと普及の芸術を生み出しました。3つ目はスーパーヒーローコミックです。この映画は1954年まで続き、今でも多くのスーパーヒーローを生み出しています。現代初の漫画カテゴリーであり、スポーツの実生活や成人向けの漫画が含まれます。最初のテレビアニメは1960年代に流し、10年以内に多くのタイトルが誕生しました。1960年までに多くの現代漫画のジャンルが確立され、おすます作品の成功もあり、NHK はラジオから漫画のテレビ化に移行し始めました。1960年代、アニメはコピーされ始め、アメリカとヨーロッパの市場に導入しようとしました。キッズ向けに英語に翻訳された最初のアニメ、鉄腕アトムはある程度の成功を収めましたが、後の世代ほど愛されるものではありませんでした。史上最長の漫画と最長寿のアニメはこの時期に始まり、今でも人気があります。1970年代、昭和43年くらいですかね。その他の要因としては、漫画喫茶が挙げられます。この時期の人気漫画には手塚治虫、子連れ狼、ベルサイユのバラなどが含まれていました。外国語に翻訳された最初の漫画、裸足のゲンはこの10年代の終わりに出版されました。この間、日本人はアニメのスタイルを定義するためにヒメグローンの変更を加えたディズニーアニメーション